Hello and welcome back to the VAR You Serious podcast, episode number 10. And as you all can tell, we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Ahmed Jakmoj, good friend of mine. Ahmed, say what's up.
Yes, welcome. I'm glad I could be back on. Take two. Hopefully this one actually, we see this one through, right?
We'll see how it goes. New
Poor
computer.
Ahmed was going to be Ahmed was going to be on our very first episode, and tech difficulties didn't make it possible. So, and last week we thought it was episode 10, but this week is actually episode 10. Either way, Ahmed, stoked to have you on, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. And I think it's better now that we do this, honestly, because we have a little more to talk about. I think there's some good narratives going on, middle of the season, kind of. So I think we got a lot to talk about today.
Well, Ahmed, I know one thing that's been going on that's been pissing my dad off quite a bit. Former Liverpool player Luis Suarez is suspended for the deciding Game 3 in Inter Miami's MLS playoff match for kicking a guy just for no reason after he already spit on someone. What was that, 2 months ago, Dad? How are you guys feeling about that?
I'll tell you what. When is Suarez going to finally be kicked out of international football? Like, honestly, this is ridiculous. Ahmed, I'm going to try to be nice here because Suarez used to play for your boys, but he is absolute trash. He is ruining the game. He's dirty. I mean, a donkey kick to the nuts. Like, how can MLS or international soccer even allow this guy on the pitch anymore? He's got to go. I'm done with it. I'm rooting for Nashville. I want the whole Messi experiment, Suarez. I want them gone. I'm done.
We're gonna do the donkey kick a little bit more, Dad. Ahmed and I have been practicing for indoor soccer. We're gonna try it out.
Mm-hmm.
But Ahmed, seriously,
to be honest, I think Suarez. Yeah,
he brings a little bit of that South American flair to the game. We wouldn't have anything to be talking about if he didn't bring these antics. We're talking about one of the best strikers of the 2010s era here. This guy has one of the most insane highlight reels I've ever seen. And you know what? It only fuels it with the on-field antics that he brings up. Now, he's an absolute melon at times. I'm not going to lie. This stuff he does is just crazy. And I haven't seen the clip. I have not seen this stuff. But when you guys told me when we were hopping on about this, I believe it. I believe it, man. There's no rhyme to the reason with the things he does. He just goes out there, bags a couple of goals, riles the teams up, and I'm glad that he was on Liverpool for a while. And then also, it was just a joy to watch him at Barca. So, I mean, he's just great.
He had all the qualities that you guys needed. Oh yeah, 100%. But he was Diego Costa, but with everything else. He had the assists, he had the goals, quality player. But yeah, I think maybe his time's up. And one other thing that we did think, we thought this team's time was already up, which I think is crazy saying it this early into the season. But if you guys can't tell by Ahmed's wall, huge Liverpool supporter over here, and everyone thought they were already down and out. But Ahmed, let's talk a little bit about this, man. A huge week here, beating Aston Villa at home, beating Real Madrid midweek. What are you thinking? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, and we have to revisit this because last weekend I sent you both a text message, and I'm pretty sure, word for word, I said something along the lines of, well, we'll take care of Villa, and then we'll handle Madrid at home later on in the week, and the fan base...
I'll put it on the screen.
Yes, attach it. And all I said was, we did it. We did it, man. We came back, and it was like, I didn't get to catch much of the Villa game, but I watched all 90 minutes of that Real Madrid. And when you have two European giants like that coming head-to-head at Anfield, dude, that atmosphere looked insane. And then just capping it off with the win, I could not be happy right now. I won't say things are fixed. I think we're finally just leveling out, but feeling good after this week. And it doesn't stop there. I mean, we're taking on City this weekend, so...
It's a big one. It's a really big one coming up here for you guys. But 2 clean sheets in a row without Allison, I think, is a huge stepping stone for you guys. And you still have him coming back. Dad, What do you think Liverpool's chances are after this little 2-run bounce, especially after Ahmed's fantastic prediction?
Well, very well done, sir. Obviously getting Allison back's going to be huge. Nobody here doesn't agree that, the goalkeeper is the cog in the wheel here for most teams. And Allison is one of the best, if not the best in the world. And so some of these defensive problems existed when Allison was there earlier in the season, but the fact that they got 2 clean sheets in a row, that bodes well. I got to admit, I didn't watch the games, so I don't know what kind of tweaks they might have made. But if they can continue that and get Allison back, they will clearly be on track for good.
No, absolutely. And I think kind of to Ahmed's point too, the team looked a lot more succinct. But Ahmed, one thing I did want to bring up is one guy who I still don't think looks completely at it, even though he's playing better, is Mohamed Salah. And he's going to go away mid-season too. How crucial do you think he's going to be in Liverpool's season the rest of the year?
Listen, I've been calling him the washed king this year because you're right. His performances have just been miles off it. I love the guy. What a great servant and player to the club he's been. But this year, you go 90 minutes and he has no impact on the games. And it seems like Slot has kept him as a player who's undroppable from the team. With the forwards that we've brought in, I don't know at this point how much longer you let him continue to have that leash where at some point you say, he's getting goals and assists every once in a while now. His rate is still good. But when you don't have that impact for 90 minutes on the game, I think it's hurting the team. He sits high and wide for, 75 minutes out of the game, cuts in, loses the ball in the attacking third time and time again. And it's going to be interesting to see when he does go away to AFCON. And I'm honestly curious what Slot does and when he comes back, if his spot is still there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. And I know my dad and I are stoked for when he's away because he's a fantastic player. It helps Arsenal's chances kind of retain their lead now. And we'll see how that goes. But we're talking Liverpool still here. Obviously, a Premier League win and a Champions League win. To both of you guys, and Ahmed or Dad, you can go first. What are the chances of Liverpool coming back, winning the Premier League or winning the Champions League? How realistic is silverware still this year?
Guess first. Go for it, Ahmed.
Yeah, I'm still gathering thoughts. Here's the point I want to make though before I get into this is that we have not had a proper title race in the Prem for years. It seems like nearly a decade. And I hope that Liverpool can claw back, or City, either of them, it can come on back there and make it an interesting race. Arsenal's levels right now have just been insane. I mean, they look like bulletproof right now. So I think that Liverpool will find a way, but I'm worried that by that time that Liverpool will find some consistent form, Arsenal's going to be too far and away.
We'll see. I think Arsenal have shown that they can always slip up, right, Dad?
Time and time again. They've got a little room for error this year, but not enough. I'll feel better when they're 15 points up, which they'll probably never get to this season. But can I just back up a second here? Salah, amazing player. I'm sorry. I think Slot needs to find a way to make this work. If you guys don't want him, we'll take him, right? I mean, you bring all these guys in, top quality players, but man, Salah has been the man. I think you, as the manager and as the organization, you find a way to make it work for a guy like Mo Salah. Maybe if it doesn't by the end of the season, but man, let's give some respect where respect is due. The AFCON thing shouldn't affect anything. And you know what? Salah could get hot very quickly. So I definitely would not give up on him.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with him is that he always finds a way to impact games. It's just when you watch the performance, and I think Liverpool this season goes as far as Salah can take them. I think with his performances and if he can start contributing and getting other players involved, Verts, getting Isak whenever he's fit, Ekitike has been absolutely amazing so far. But I think it all goes through Salah, and whenever he can kind of get to that point where maybe it's the confidence. Who knows what's going on right now? But with him and his performance, I mean, he's been the picture boy of just consistency in the Premier League for the past 7-8 years. So there's no doubt that he can do it. There's no doubt. It's just, can he do it again this year?
I think it's tough, and you see guys like Holland absolutely picking up that form and keeping their form, and he's much younger, so it's a harsh comparison, but we'll see if Salah can get back there, especially with that new contract. The expectation, I think, is there that he needs to be at that level. But I think over the next 5 fixtures, we're going to learn a lot more about Liverpool and how the season's actually going to go. 2 big wins, but can they make it 3 big wins? City on the road at the Etihad, massive game. If they can get through City with at least a point, I see them winning their next 4 games after that. You got Forest at home, PSV at home, West Ham away, Sunderland at home. I think that's 4 wins out of 4 right there, potentially 5 wins out of 5 with City at the weekend. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think this is where the charge begins. They have the same depth as an Arsenal realistically, but will they show it, I guess?
Yeah, and I think right now the gap is 7 points. Is that right?
It is 7 points. It is 7
I
points.
think if Liverpool pull off a win against City, that puts a lot of pressure on Arsenal.
7 points for Liverpool, only a 6-point gap for City. Sorry.
No, that's a good point.
So ideally for Arsenal, you guys want a draw here.
100%.
Want a
We
draw.
would love a good 0-0, boring draw, which Man City and Liverpool have definitely given us plenty over the years. That was sarcastic. That's never the case.
Yeah.
Liverpool and City.
It'll be. I'm excited for it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go. Sorry.
I was just going to say I'm excited for it this weekend. I'm nervous. I think I don't trust the team quite yet to go into this game on the weekend after 2 great performances. They're capable of it. You know what I mean? They're very capable of it, and they could go out there and just put an absolute masterclass together. City have not looked invincible this season at all by any means. I think we're going to get ready for a shootout, though. 3-2, 2-2, something like that.
I want to play a little.
We're going into prediction land right now. Play the game. Play the game, Dad. Play the game.
I want to do higher or lower with Ahmed. So right now it's Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Sunderland, Bournemouth. Higher or lower, Ahmed? Sunderland, 4th place. Bournemouth, 5th place. Do they finish the season higher or lower than their current standing?
Sunderland has to drop. Love them. Yeah. Been the story of the season so far, and if they do, imagine them qualifying for the Champions League. That'd be unreal. That'd be like almost Leicester 2016 levels story. Yep. But Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth higher or lower than 5th. I think 5th best case scenario for them. I don't know if they'll squeeze into those Champions League, but they've been absolutely on top of it. Their squad is looking amazing. Semenyo player of the season so far in the Prem. I don't see them stopping or leveling out. They're ready. They've had the experience in the Premiership already to fight with the big dogs and go and get some wins against some of the top 6 clubs. I think they could end up, easily going into 5th place here.
And hey, we love those small teams, Dad. We always do underdog of the week, Ahmed, and I'm sure you've seen that as well. But I think it's at the end of the day, it's all about the 3 at the top right now. It's Arsenal, City, and Liverpool again. And we're excited to kind of see where it goes. But Ahmed, I kind of wanted to end off here by letting you talk about how you got into your Liverpool fandom, just so everyone on the pod kind of knows where you became a fan.
Yes. This was a part that we tried to do the first round, right? And I'll keep my story consistent for you. It's the same stuff. So, I think I explained it like this, right? There was only a number of games that were nationally broadcasted in the U.S. growing up in that 2010s era. Chelsea was a team that was on all the time, and Liverpool were the other team that I saw all the time. And I just started watching a lot of Liverpool and seeing the team that they put together. It was not flashy, but I loved watching the young Raheem Sterling. Philippe Coutinho was amazing, but my favorite player of them all, and I was always obsessed with this guy. Anytime I would watch it and turn it on, I'd be just watching this guy, and it was Martin Skirtle. Shaved head, tattoos, center back, just an absolute, when you talk about just a Premier League bulldozer, it was this guy. And I loved watching him. And I just kept kind of watching him. And they went through some eras and transitions from Brendan Rodgers into Klopp those beginning years. And then obviously I kind of picked the right time to start supporting them because once Klopp came in, man, they took off. But always been Liverpool. My dad supports Liverpool as well. So we're always back in the Reds and just got to make it over there one day for a game and sing "You'll Never Walk Alone" with the crowd.
Hey, well, we love a good father-son bond over a team. We can't deny that. And Mike's loving it. Mike is loving it for sure. But no, Ahmed, we appreciate you coming on the pod, man. We'll see how Liverpool does the rest of the season. Any final prediction for the game coming up here, City away?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my 3-2 City. 3-2 City. Holland 2 goals. Who knows who that one is, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Dad, you got a prediction or you got to stay out of it?
I'm thinking not just because I want it. I think it's actually a 1-1 draw. And Salah scores.
I like it. I think
Salah
both.
scored.
Hey, I would not be mad at that.
with the late equalizer maybe, but no, I'll kind of stick with Ahmed. I think on this one, I'm thinking like a 3-3. I'm thinking both defenses have looked a little rough to start the season. I'm thinking it's going to be a little back and forth, as we've seen in years past. But once again, Ahmed, thank you so much for joining, man. It's a pleasure to have you on, and hopefully we'll do it again soon.
Yes, gentlemen, appreciate you guys. I'll take off.
Awesome.
Take
Have
care,
a good
buddy.
one. Bye.
Hey, good times having Ahmed on there. Let's go to our underdogs of the week. And let's have you go ahead and start off, buddy.
All right. Well, Dad, I had to bring one of my favorite ones back to the table, but on this time they are on the other side, the side that they shouldn't be on, and that's actually the losing side. And I don't know if anyone remembers, but we're 10 episodes in now. It's a little bit of a milestone, but in one of the episodes I brought up LDU Quito, team making it further in the Copa Libertadores. Ecuadorian team have had success, and they were up 3-0 on Palmeiras in the semifinals before going to the second leg. In the second leg, Palmeiras, with an upset for centuries to come, wins 4-0. And you can say what you want about South American football. Maybe it was rigged, maybe it wasn't, but what a comeback from Palmeiras. Insane atmosphere, just like total dominance over LDU Quito. Dad, I mean, this has got to be one of the bigger comebacks in a large continental competition in a while, don't you think?
That's rough, man. Our friends at LDU Quito, man, that the disappointment that may never go away. Just to have that 3-0 lead and then to have it all evaporate in 90 minutes. I'm not even sure if I could watch soccer for a few weeks if that happened to Arsenal. I don't know if I could do it.
I don't think I could either, Dad. And I think, it's been 25 years, I believe, since LDU Quito won the whole thing and was really in that prominent stage. And this looked like their moment potentially. And it all kind of fell apart. But I don't want to, go away from what Palmeiras did. I mean, what a comeback. They made noise in the Club World Cup earlier this summer. And I was shocked they went down this early and this quickly, but they came back. They showed why they're one of the best teams in South America, if not the world, being at the Club World Cup, right? But, impressive stuff from them. Sets up an all-Brazilian final. Palmeiras, Flamengo. Should be a great matchup, but shout out Palmeiras for really showing up and creating just a ridiculous comeback. I mean, you're not going to see that again for a while. But Dad, I think you have another Hollywood story that needs to be on the docket here. Who's your underdog of the week?
Well, your boys up at Wrexham. What's your friend that lives up there?
Mr. Luke. He lives up there, and he's from there. It's a great little spot, but Wrexham is making some waves in the championship now.
Yeah, they're starting to make a move. Early part of the season, they were, I don't know about struggling, but, they weren't having that success, that immediate success that they had the last few seasons. Starting to figure it out, and they pull off a 3-2 win over Coventry. First loss of the championship season for Coventry. In fact, I sent you that video today, just obviously not the 3-2 loss, but after the game, the coach, the players, the celebration, the love, like it was really kind of powerful to see that passion. And obviously after this tough loss, that passion's probably dwindled a bit for a couple of days.
Well, thankfully that was a bounce back win for them against Middlesbrough. They came back and won that game, and this had happened, I guess, earlier in the week. So they bounced back well. I think they're showing the fight of a champion, Coventry is, and led by Frank Lampard. Haji Wright, the American, having a great season up top for them. But yeah, what a cool win, Dad. I think Kieffer Moore getting a hat trick for Wrexham. Like, where did that come from? Out of nowhere. And do you think this kind of propels Wrexham's season to at least stay in the division?
Oh, I think it for sure helps them. I mean, I never thought they would not be able to stay in the division. But yeah, I mean, I think when you get this kind of win, you start to believe more. That brotherhood gets a little tighter. And it tells them, hey, we are good enough to be here, and we're good enough to compete at the highest level of the championship.
Do you think that means they're promotion contenders then? Does this put them in that category? It's so early, but the championship is so tight and anything can happen. What do you think on that standpoint?
Well, I've thought all along that it would take Wrexham a couple of seasons to get promoted, if they even do. I'm not certain about that. They've done really well, but it just feels like that jump from the championship up to the Premier League is so high. And there's a lot of teams in the championship who've been there for a while, who've been fighting. They know how to fight at that level. I think Wrexham's going to need 2 to 3 seasons before they really have a shot at promotion.
Yeah, and I agree with you there, Dad. I think they have the right foundation and setup, but to your point, the championship is a division of experience. You need that quality and that grit to get through all those games. They play more games than anyone in the world probably in that time span, with the different cup matches and the 46-game league season, potentially playoffs if you get into the playoffs. I mean, it is a grueling season, and I think some more clubs are probably better prepared for that. So we'll see kind of where they end up going there, Dad. But another thing I think we wanted to bring up this week on the other side of football here, and we brought up Forest earlier in the episode. Really unfortunate thing here, and I want to give my heartfelt condolences, our heartfelt condolences out to anyone affected by the tragedy on the Cambridgeshire train, where a few Forest fans and I believe a few fans of another club were stabbed to death. Just horrific scenes, Dad. And this is really a resurgence of violence in football that we haven't seen in a while, but there's a lot of other examples. Israeli fans, regardless of what's going on in that region, they were attacked in Amsterdam not that long ago. And then the other way, we've seen fans throwing bottles at players on the field and interacting with players and refs on the field. And I think, Dad, this is just bringing up a really concerning point for football in today's day and age. And why do you think we're seeing this rise in violence once again?
Well, boy, how much time do you have? Economics. I think people across Europe and across the world are not doing as well as they'd like. I think there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of changes politically going on at both extremes. And so I think that's sort of bringing out some of the folks out there that maybe have been hiding in the shadows for the last decade or so. We talked a little bit earlier in the week, hooliganism was really big in the 60s and 70s and 80s, far more of these types of events. And I certainly hope that there will not be a full-fledged return to that. Great book for the fans out there if they've never read it. It's called How Soccer Explains the World. And when you read these different chapters about different clubs around the world and how important this is to them, but also that mix of religion and politics and economics and all this stuff. And let's face it, some folks just go too damn far. This is awful. And I really hope FIFA, other governing bodies do whatever they can to crack down, to prevent, to kind of nip this in the bud and stop any momentum right here, right now.
And I agree 100% with you, Dad. I think it's such a hard time for so many people around the world with so much conflict, so much political strife going on. I think people are making rash decisions, doing rash things. But to your point, Dad, I don't think this is an isolated football issue. I think this is a societal issue. We're seeing violence all over the world for all sorts of different reasons. And it's so unfortunate that things like football and sports are now being tainted by things like this. I mean, this should be a release from all of that for so many people around the world. And by no means does anyone want to get on a train to a game and never come back home again. I mean, it's just sickening, really, to think about. And to your point, I think everything needs to be done to keep people safe in these scenarios. But I mean, at the same time, it's tough because, as you said, How Soccer Explains the World is a fantastic book, and we need to preserve those rivalries because it makes the game great. But do you think there's anything that can be done to keep it in check, or is it just something that's always going to be out of control because of the circumstances?
Well, I think the possibility of violence is always going to be there. People get very worked up about this stuff. I see one of your questions here is, how do we remind people it's just a game? I think for a lot of people, it's not just a game. It really isn't. I think it's going to take a lot of security measures. Yeah, it is, especially if you don't have a job, you feel a religious persecution. It's just going to escalate the importance of what shouldn't be that important. But, the security is going to be, have to be ramped up. I remember, gosh, it's been almost 15 years now. So since I went to Amsterdam and saw AZ Alkmaar and play Ajax in Ajax's stadium, weird place. And the AZ fans were kind of up in a corner, obviously separated from the Ajax fans. And they not only had like canvas tarps sort of blocking both sides of the AZ Alkmaar fan area, they had police with automatic weapons lining the staircase. And I saw that and I thought to myself, damn, I've read about this kind of stuff. Yeah, I've read about this kind of stuff, and even though I was sitting pretty far away, it was unsettling. Like, wait, really? Like, this is what's necessary? And unfortunately, that may be necessary even more so now.
Yeah, and Dad, I think, we just have to continue progressing, to your point. Like, some of these games and teams are people's lives, and you're not going to change that. The tribalism will always live on in different forms, whether it's us giving Ahmed, a little bit of jokes and kind of giving him an elbow here and there, compared to someone killing someone over a ball being kicked around, which is really unfortunate. But if we can continue to see progress, I think we'll get there. And, with us talking about Liverpool at the beginning of the episode, we saw the Hillsborough disaster way back when in the FA Cup tie, and many people killed there because of safety reasons at the stadium, but we've progressed from that. And really, for the most part, we have progressed on from traditional hooliganism. So what's the next step? How do we prevent this violence in society? And I think that's a bigger question than we can answer on a soccer podcast, don't you think?
It is. Just to bring up one other story, because I'm the old guy here, so I got to tell my stories. Do you remember when we went to White Hart Lane when you were a little kid?
Yeah, of course. It was a great time.
I don't remember who Spurs were playing that day. You might. But two things stand out in my mind. One is kind of random and funny.
Southampton.
Oh, you're right. Okay. So one funny thing, not hooliganism, was we had great seats pitch side, and across the aisle from us the entire time, this lady kept saying, "Fuck's sake, Danny Rose," because Danny Rose kept making mistakes on defense. And you're like 10 years old. And it's not that you hadn't heard a curse word before, but I mean, this woman was just constant. But before the game, and I don't know if you remember this.
She was angry. She was angry, Dad. She was so angry. Everything going on. You could tell.
Oh, yeah. And that's that passion we're talking about, right? But the thing that I remember most, going back to the violence and the need for security, was that they had, it must have been 40 to 50 horses, police officers, mounted police officers on horses, to file the Southampton fans in safely, and to literally use these massive horse bodies to separate the fans. Once again, I was like, should I have my 10-year-old with me?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just always been so serious, and I think you even see it here in the US with sports rivalries, but nothing to that extent. We really don't have anything to that extent here in the US as far as I know, or at least we don't anymore, Dad, but hopefully we never get to that point in the US, because that's never where it should go. And hopefully around the world we see a transition. Let's focus, I guess, to put it in a different way, let's focus our energy on our teams. Support your team, support the players on the field that are playing for your team, respect the referees, respect everyone else, and enjoy yourself. It's supposed to be enjoyment. That's why we're all here, right? So I think that's the only way we can put it at this point. But great job bringing up that story, Dad. That was a long time ago, but we went to some great games on that trip. Arsenal City, Tottenham, Southampton, QPR, played Wigan, I remember. It's a great trip.
Loftus Road.
Yes. That's a fun little ground. Just to anyone out there, if you get the chance, if you're in London, check out a QPR game. Fun, championship level stadium to go to, fun atmosphere, fun crowd. A lot of great players have come through there too. I remember when they were in the Premier League, Adel Taarabt was a streets will never forget player, which is kind of a saying these days, but he was unbelievable, unplayable at times. So go check out QPR. Fun time to watch them. But Dad, we are on to our VAR You Serious moment of the week this week, and we're actually coming back to the United States, Dad. Now, I gave you the context kind of to read beforehand. I don't know if you got a chance, but you know a little bit about the USL, right?
Really mostly from you when you worked for the Switchbacks. So I did look at the notes, but you, as usual, are going to have a lot more knowledge on this. So I'll let you lead the way.
No, and I'll lead the way, and I'll let you interject here when this makes sense, because once again, it's almost becoming more of a societal issue than it really is a soccer issue. But yes, I worked in the USL Championship. I saw it up front. They have great plans. USL is trying to do great things. Some recent news, Dad. They are making a Division I to rival MLS, and they hired former Premier League executive to run that league, which is a huge statement, honestly, to bring in a guy of that caliber to run that league. So that's exciting, right? One other thing they also brought in that MLS has never done, US Soccer has never done, is promotion relegation. And they're looking to do that between their Division I, their USL Championship, USL League One, which could change soccer in the US forever. Dad, what do you think about this? Just general thoughts from the get-go.
Not sure they can pull it off. I think in Americans' minds, MLS is the top league. I'm not sure people will necessarily accept it as a competitive league, but they're clearly making some good decisions to try to do their best to compete. I'm going to go back to American football for a minute. Sorry. With the NFL and the AFL, and how I think people thought when, AFL teams, Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, whatever, came along, and they thought, well, the AFL's never going to really become legitimate. 10 years later or so, they merge, and that's the modern NFL. So based on that, could USL and MLS at some point merge? I'd be okay with that, especially if it includes that promotion relegation. I think we desperately need that in this country.
Absolutely. And I think people have talked about it in other sports, Dad, like American football. They've talked about it for college football with the amount of teams in college football. And instead of doing conferences, doing promotion and relegation for that, which is crazy to think about, but it's becoming more of an accepted idea, I think, here in the US, which is the bigger piece, right? And we can't predict down the line what's going to happen. But I think, to your point, USL is making a great effort to make this happen. They want this to happen, and they want to compete with MLS. And maybe it'll draw MLS to see if it works, because USL has a lot of mid-markets, some bigger markets. So if MLS sees it work on a small scale, maybe it can work on the bigger scale. Anyways, with that, Dad, here's some more information that maybe goes to your point of, is USL ready yet or not? Currently, big national news that's been on ESPN, multiple other outlets. There's a growing conflict between the USL Players Association as they are negotiating for a new CBA with the USL. This is very important, and it's got very heated, and actually talks have stopped between the two entities as USL Players Association, they are fighting for things like employer-provided healthcare, which is not a thing yet in USL. Lack of transparency on fair pay, safe working conditions, lack of housing. I mean, Dad, these are crazy issues to be talking about in a professional sports league. What do you think about this?
I'm shocked. I didn't realize. Wow, that's a problem, and I can see why these players want, and they deserve better conditions than that. It's interesting. I don't want to get political here, but healthcare in this country right now is a real big issue, and affordability, lack of affordability.
Yeah.
And if a professional soccer player can't get healthcare, that tells you something, right? I mean, this is someone at a high level. No, they're not MLS, but they're pretty darn high level, and they're not making MLS money, and they don't have health care. Wow, this is a big, big problem.
I mean, and Dad, I saw this from a firsthand point of view, and luckily I was at a club that was run really well and treated their players very well. All the players had housing provided. All the players were paid a fair amount of wage, based off of that, also not having living costs. And essentially, they were fed properly. They all had health care. But this is really sad to see, Dad. And this is the last point I want to bring up on USL here, and it's a big one. There's a lot of clubs that aren't being run like that, which I kind of wish I saw the inside of, to see the neglect going on for running an organization. Dad, how many clubs do you think in the USL Championship and League One have disbanded or gone away since 2015?
Oh boy, it would be a complete guess, but if I'm basing it on the history of, soccer in the United States, going back to the Major Indoor Soccer League, and North American Soccer League, all these different things, it's probably higher than most of our listeners would probably be guessing. What is it?
Yeah, Dad. It's definitely higher than I thought, and it's only been 10 years, so bring that into account. It's 19 games, Dad. 19 games. 19 clubs have shut down since 2015 across USL Championship and League One, with, I believe, 16 of them being Championship, which is the top division right now. And this has been a multitude of reasons, whether it's organizational neglect, bankruptcy, poor playing conditions, staff problems. And it is so depressing to see, Dad. And this is the newest story off the press, which I'm sure you've heard of as well. North Carolina FC, who is currently in the USL Championship playoffs, will be halting operations after this season to prepare for a Division 1 team in the USL in 2028. But here's the kicker. Going along with all the evidence we've already provided, all of their players will be given 2 months' pay and then cut off completely. They will not be a part of a roster. They will be complete free agents after 2 months. No guaranteed money on their contracts. It's all voided. And I think this is one of the craziest sports stories I've heard in a while from an actual integrity perspective. I mean, Dad, where do we even go from here? This is outrageous to me. And I can't even imagine if you were a staff member, what happens to you, a normal person?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there's plenty of Americans out there who wouldn't shed a tear, because there's plenty of Americans' jobs out there, they lose it and they get nothing. Right. And so I'm not saying that's okay,
True.
but a lot of Americans will look at professional athletes and assume things about how much money they make and so on and so forth. Let's face it, none of these guys at the U.S. level are rich. But it'll be hard for a lot of people to really, they might feel bad in theory for them, but in practice, they'll be like, yeah, my buddy lost his job down at, the restaurant and got nothing. My wife got let go from the restaurant last week and got nothing, so I don't like it. But I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. These are businesses after all.
I mean, and I'm not shocked either, Dad, but I think it's sad because, listen, I understand, and this is a sensitive topic around the US right now and all over the world, honestly. The job market is rough. People are being furloughed and, let go left and right, which is a serious issue. I think when you see it, though, at this higher level of people who have a special talent, per se, and are a professional in their field, I think it's just more shocking. And I don't want to put athletes on a pedestal, but I mean, we're talking about a league that plans to be a top league in the United States of America, which is the sports mecca of the world in some people's eyes. I mean, doesn't that just rub you the wrong way, Dad, with the plans and the trajectory of the league, and then this?
Yeah, I mean, the more I learn, the more I feel like they're putting the cart before the horse here. And there's plenty of examples, as I've already alluded to, of leagues, both on the men's side and the women's side, where they got a little ahead of themselves and the whole thing collapsed. I don't think all of USL will collapse across the board, but you could see a lot more teams shutting, their doors. And so it feels like USL may want to just downshift a bit here and really make sure that they're ready to make these big moves.
Absolutely, Dad, and I completely agree. I think they need to slow their roll. They're already planning a bunch of new teams coming in, that they've expanded to new cities. All I'll say here, Dad, is there's a lot of great clubs across the USL. Having worked for one of the clubs, having traveled to go see some of the other clubs, there's a lot of great fan bases, great clubs out there, great players in these leagues. So all I'll say is, if you're in the US, if you're anywhere in the world, honestly, support your local clubs, support your local players. They're all people too. And we're all there to enjoy ourselves at the end of the day. So let's support locally and make sure, we can keep these cool things in some of our smaller towns and cities around the country. And then they can expand, and USL can do all those great things that they do want to do. But Dad, we do have to end it with our typical moment here. Is USL, is this no penalty on them? Everything going on. They're doing the right moves. This is out of their hands, no penalty. Or is it a yellow card? They're kind of doing something wrong, or red card. USL is totally out of its depth here, and things are getting way too shaken up.
I'm going to go yellow card this week. I do think that there's some poor execution going on here. I do think, like I said, that they're getting a little ahead of themselves. So I think this should be a warning, that, caution, if you will. Do what you're doing. I think the ideas are solid. I just think, they need to maybe slow it down, because if they don't, they're going to pay the price.
Absolutely. And Dad, I think I'm agreed with you on yellow card for the USL, but just to bring it up, I'd like to red card North Carolina FC for being a total group of scumbags, and I hope we can interview someone from their staff at some point. And I'm putting this as a direct invite out right now for them to explain why this all makes sense to them. But red card to them for giving up on their team, announcing this in the middle of their playoff run, where they're the highest ranked seed left, I believe, in the East. I think it's a complete farce. So red card to North Carolina FC. When they come back in 2028 for the supposed Division One, I hope they're the most hated team in the South. That's just what I have to say. Having friends in the USL, having worked in the USL, they're a complete stain on the league. They're in my bad book forever. If I didn't make that clear enough, Dad.
You did not pull any punches, and I can appreciate that. And I'm sure there are plenty of fans in North Carolina who are right there with you.
Yeah, and you know what? Hopefully they go support Charlotte FC. They're making a great run right now too. They got some exciting players. Go support them. They're committed to actually having a team in North Carolina and supporting the team. So go support Charlotte FC and our other American teams. But Dad, this was a great episode, kind of a long one here, but great to have Ahmed on. Great to talk about some of these heavy topics. But anything else before we wrap up?
No. Just looking forward to, continue to watch some great soccer, some big games coming up here. I know Arsenal plays Liverpool some point sooner rather than later in the calendar year. And then just really getting ahead of myself a bit, isn't there a Champions League game against Bayern coming up fairly soon?
We got a big one, Dad, and I think I've been saying it. It's maybe the biggest game of the season so far. So maybe we'll have to get together, play some hooky, and watch that game.
I'm up for it. Let's do it.
Awesome, Dad. Well, hey, great episode. Thank you for watching, everyone. Please like, subscribe, comment. Send all the stuff about the USL to the USL and the USLPA. Show them some love. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for a great episode, Sen. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care.